We are live. What's up, everybody? Another episode of the Patel Bros Collectibles podcast. I'm Rish.
And Carolus. Not a
Yeah.
Patel, bro.
Not a Patel bro, but he's honorary. Anyway.
Not by name.
Not my name, but by choice.
By choice. By accreditation.
Yeah. But anyway, we got a few topics this week. Some good stuff. We'll get right into it. First topic. Oh, if you want to follow along, we'll have all the topics listed in the description as usual, and we'll just get into it. First one article that I sent you was about the Atari 7800. Number one, I didn't even know they were still making Ataris. Like I thought that was but that went the way of like floppy disks and shit like that. But apparently there's a new Atari coming out, which is shipping out, and
yeah, like I saw that too. I saw that even before you shared the list. I saw the article already really? Before that. Okay. So yeah.
So you knew about it. So you knew. What were your thoughts? Like when you first found out about it, what was your first initial thought?
Like, can I just be honest?
Yeah, be 100% honest, please. That's what we're here for.
I mean, look, unless you're like 10 years or 15 years older than us, who's playing those games?
That's what I want to know. Even we were on like the cusp of when video games started becoming relevant, right? There started being more computer games, and people started having more PCs, and then we're in the era of like NES, Super Nintendo, like that's what we grew up on, right? And don't get me wrong, I had an Atari when I was a kid. We had an Atari, and we played it, and like it was cool for what it was, right? But when NES came out and like things like Super Mario, Rygar, Zelda, like dude, when those games came out, like that, they were leaps and bounds ahead of. They actually had story, like they actually had like things that made you want to replay it, right? Where like how much Pong could you play? How much Space Invaders could you fucking play? Like honestly, I mean,
look, I get the nostalgia is hard, but we touched upon this in the previous subjects. Not that we encourage it, but I mean, those games you can play on any emulator on anything like. I get it. They're trying to capture that, like the NES released the mini, right, and then like the PlayStation Mini. And
this thing is expensive.
It is, and then the games are like $40
Yeah, like Pong is like $40 or something, and like Space Invaders is like $40. Like,
listen, I'm not even in US, but I know if you go to any store, you guys have plenty of TVs that nobody bought on Black Friday, which was like 3 days ago. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So who's gonna buy the system for such a large amount of money?
But like, who said I needed Pong in HD? Like, why do I need why am I playing Pong with an HDMI cable? Like, I don't understand that. I don't need that. Like,
I think this was a decision made. Obviously, it takes time to develop these things and manufacture and then roll it out. So I think this decision was made like 2-3 years ago when when the economy was still like everybody's like, oh, we'll figure it out. We're recovering. It's gonna be great. Let's just let's just do this. People will buy it. People are dumb. Like they have lots of money. Come on, they're buying TVs and things. They buy all the stuff they don't need. And now when everybody's panicking about the economy and the future, it's kind of again, if the games were like $14, like that's I think the average Steam game you can get for, again, obviously there's the super expensive ones, but like you can get games for $2 to $14 to $20.
Under $10. Like you get any of these games for under $10 easily.
Or you find emulators that may or may not be free. I don't know. I don't do that thing.
I mean, you can even find clones of these games that have better quality backgrounds and shit like that. Like a lot of these are just like plain black backgrounds that they're playing on. Like I don't understand why people are clamoring after this thing. Like even
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean,
it's like someone re-releasing the Commodore 64. Like, okay, bro, good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I can, I also,
It's
I
like
have
saying,
a Logi keyboard
nice.
that like
That's actually kind of dope.
does more
Yeah. No,
with emoticons and stuff that does more than the Commodore ever could
no,
do, you know? Like, so
but that's
why
the
would
thing.
I want to?
That's like if I said, "Oh, here's a Light Bright 2.0, and I'm going to charge you $200 for it," right? Like that makes no fucking sense to me.
It uses
Yeah,
multicolor LEDs.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Right? Like, what are you talking? Like, I understand if you put out this new Atari system that had HDMI capability, but you charge what, like $60 for it or $70. That I could be like, okay, I can get behind that. I was like, okay, somebody
not
wants.
even. I say 40 to 50. 40 to 50 max.
But even like those miniature, the mini SN or NES thing, they came with like preloaded games, right? You didn't have to buy cartridges,
Yes,
right? They came
correct.
with like 3,000
Correct.
games in it, right?
Correct.
So like
Correct.
that made the $100 or whatever you're paying for it like really worth it. Your money's
Yeah.
going a long way. This
Yeah.
one you don't get a single game with it. You get that. Oh well, I think you get one game, right? Or one or two games. But
I think a little bit more, like four or five games, because you
okay,
get cartridges. You get a few.
okay, so you get a
But
few cartridges. So, but like 4 or 5 games. The rest, then you got to buy more cartridges if you want to play other games. That makes
why?
fucking sense to me. Like I don't know why.
I don't get it.
Like,
I
and
think
if
this
you're gonna
thing.
spend
I
that
think
kind
it'll flop.
dude, if yeah, 100%, 100%. I'm like, but
I
if you're
think
gonna
it will
spend that kind of
flop.
money, so many dope games are coming out with so really nice graphics that are still like give you the nostalgia feel because like you have like those HD 2D or like the pixelated and the games that are coming out that are like really high quality games and they're like the old generation graphics and it's you get the same nostalgia but you don't have to pay all these exorbitant prices. Like I don't understand
Yeah,
why.
I think this will flop hard. And
Yeah.
who owns Atari? Who owns the Atari name? Atari's going to go bankrupt again for the third
Yeah,
time.
for sure. I'm sure it's one of these big video game companies. I don't think Atari is its own company anymore. But
No,
but
I don't
still,
think so either. I think they
yeah,
like once they went bankrupt in early
yeah. I think
2000s, right, or
Nintendo
something like
company
that.
bought it out or
Yeah.
somebody. Yeah, but
Stupid
yeah,
move.
it's
Stupid
wild.
move.
Yeah,
Stupid
and
move. I
yeah,
disagree. Whoever, obviously, this was some nostalgia nerd like us, but he was a little older and obviously in a position of
yeah.
power. And he was like, "Oh, I remember. It was fun. People want to play this." Like, no, bro, no.
This is like one of those things that where like a really rich guy's like, yeah, everybody's gonna love it because I love it, so everybody's gotta
Yeah,
love it. So I'm just
yeah,
gonna waste my money making this fucking stupid
yeah.
product.
And I could pay what
Yeah,
hundred and something dollars. That's cheap.
no,
That is cheap.
retarded.
Get
Anyway,
out of here, bro. Again,
let's
I'll buy Jordans before I buy that thing.
for real, 100%, 100%. Anyway, all right, let's move it along. Okay, next topic: Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So my thoughts. Number one, I'm not a huge first person like shooter type of game. Like even like
I don't think it's a first person
it's
shoot.
not a
It is. It
shooter.
does involve
Yeah, there
shooting.
is
And no,
some,
no, it does.
but
You do get a gun.
I think it's more like an adventure game, right? It's like a point and click. Like
Yes.
you have to like find items and then use those items to progress in the game or whatever, right?
You're Indiana Jones. You're Indiana Jones, you know?
You're indie, right? But it's in the vein of like those like King's Quest or like Quest for Glory type games where like every scene you have to look for items that are going to help you like unlock the next part
I
of
would
the
say
game.
yes, and I think they try to like sort of like Uncharted
Yes.
sort of.
Well, I don't know if this has much like kind of traversing of the world. I think this is more.
Not so
Yeah,
much. But I think that's what the vibe they
but
were going for. Like
yeah,
Indiana Jones in Uncharted, but he's still Indiana Jones, you know?
yeah. But I don't know how I feel about it because I just okay. And the other thing is I've watched like gameplays footage of this like a significant amount, and it seems very poorly paced of a game. Like it seems like there's gonna be long stretches of where there's not much going on. There's not a lot of dialogue. You're not really doing much. Like, well, I mean, you're trying to figure
You're
things out.
sneaking around. You're architecting. You know, you're architect,
like
adventure architect, not architect, archaeologist. Why did I say architect?
Yeah. But common mistake. But no, well,
Yeah, thanks.
like I think it's I think the thing is like even during like the puzzle solving sequences, I think they're drawn out and they it's just I don't know. I just think that they the pacing of the game is not as good.
I agree. I agree with you. I think this game is about 10 years too late in terms of gameplay mechanics wise. I think it's maybe even
100.
15 years too late, like 10
No,
10 to 15 years too late.
no, yeah, it seems dated. It seems a little dated.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
way that the way that it's designed, it's like it's the old fashioned gaming mechanics,
and
that may not appeal to today's audience at
well,
all. And obviously they're banking on the nostalgia factor here on people
yes,
like me who love
yeah.
Indiana Jones, who could literally, quote the entire movie while sitting and watching it.
I mean, I'm an
And
indie fan.
then
I love me some indie, but I'm curious to know if that was a deliberate thing for the nostalgia. Like, did they purposely make the mechanics like less more like 19 because like because it's supposed to like take place in like the revolution, no, not revolution, after World War
Revolution,
II,
whoa,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
whoa,
after World
revolution.
War II
Jeez,
or
dude.
whatever.
Indiana,
Like,
that's Indiana's great, 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 great grandfather, not
yeah,
him.
yeah. No, but like I think
That
it
was
maybe
Montana. That was Montana Jones, okay? Not Indiana Jones.
yeah. I think if they did that to as like a kind of like a callback to that, then I could get behind that. Then I could be like, okay, that makes sense. But if it's more of a developmental issue where like they just poorly developed the game, then you know you're gonna see a lot of like
Again,
bugs.
they're feeding member berries to people like me with like
100%.
clean graphics,
Yo,
but
if it was a third person game, I'd be all over it. Like if it was like more like Uncharted, it
uh,
was like a third person adventure game, I would be the first person to like take my money. I gotta play this fucking game because I'm
yeah.
all like just like you. There's super member barriers for me. I love me anything Indiana Jones. So the only thing deterring me is just the whole first person aspect of it because we
Yeah, I
know
think it only goes third person when climbing mechanics are involved,
yeah, like climbing
and
mechanics
yeah.
or like cutscenes. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think what they did, it is voiced by Harrison Ford, right?
Yeah, it sounds like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at least, again, like it's
The voice
almost they
acting
got
is solid. Like all the voice.
everything's
Yeah.
everything, they got almost everything so correct. But most likely will I buy it when it's releases? No, but when it goes on
Oh no.
sale, I'll get it.
Exactly. Like I'll get it used. And like
What is used? It's a digital copy. You can't get it
yeah.
used. You could just get
Well,
it for lower
well,
cost.
is it digital only? Yeah, no, it's a console game. You get a disc
Dude, when was the last time you bought a disc? Be honest.
all the time, dude. I prefer disc over digital. 100%. Because I prefer disc over digital because my brother plays it too and he has a PlayStation. So usually like we'll get one game and then when I'm done with it, I'll give it to him so he can play it. So that's why I almost always get a disc.
Gotcha. It's well, again, in Indonesia, it's quite challenging to get all the
Yeah,
titles
that makes sense.
on disc. So most of my are digital copies. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
makes
I
sense.
don't.
Well, I
The
have a lot
last
of
disc
games too.
huh?
No, I still download games too. Like I still have a lot of digital games.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like there's no way there's going to be an Indiana disc in the stores here. Like they're not shipping them here. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be a
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I will play it though. When it's out, like I'll give it a shot. I mean, it's Indiana Jones. It's just because of that fact alone, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah,
Like,
I will play it too. Like I'll play it, I'll beat it, and I'll be like, okay, cool, I did it. Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
yeah,
Moving on.
exactly. Yeah, I've played a lot of games
You
like
know,
that.
at least I think from what I saw, the plot seems better than the last two movies. So I don't know.
It's not hard to beat Crystal Skull, man. That shit was terrible.
I'm sorry,
Especially
what? I don't acknowledge the existence of that film. It doesn't
fucking
exist.
Shia LaBeouf and aliens. I'm like, yeah, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Like it's one thing to do like a religious, like holy grail.
Look, I'm not hating on Shia LaBeouf. Let's be honest. I'm not hating. I thought he was a great choice. I thought he was a great choice to play the illegitimate son. But
the story
the
was
story swinging through the vines with the monkeys and like what? Come on.
I could have overlooked all of that if they didn't end it the whole thing on this is all aliens. Like if that I could have done without any of that. Like make it more supernatural. You could have been like, oh, this is an Incan god or something, or
Yeah. Considering we know how those skulls were formed by deforming the royalty babies to elongate their skulls, like
come on.
There's scientific evidence of that. So like.
Yeah, it was.
I
don't
know, man.
Anyway, anywho's, let's move it along.
Aliens.
Aliens. All right, let's move on. Okay, next article. This made me laugh. Wicked Collectibles.
I don't care about any of this.
I didn't do neither do I. But everybody in my house has been talking about it. Like my sister is
of course. And then, of course, artsy fartsy galore. Come on.
And then my brother's wife made him go watch it, and he's like, God. He liked it, and like everybody's been talking about it, and now I was like going through articles, and this thing popped up, and I was like, all right, we got to talk about this thing.
I don't care about this.
It is it's so outrageously popular right now in the States. Like everybody's obsessed with it. It's literally permeated our entire fucking entertainment industry right now. It is
wonderful. Wonderful. I hope it makes a lot of money for a lot of rich people.
It already has. All right,
I care nothing for it. It's all. Can we just say what we're talking about before we do? Before we move on to the next subject. What are we talking about, Rich?
What are we talking about? What, Wicked?
Yeah.
The movie? Yeah, that being becoming collectible and selling a lot on eBay and stuff like that. Like all these wild.
I care nothing for it. I don't enjoy musicals. It's lost on me. I didn't watch the Broadway play. I didn't read the books. I care nothing for it.
I've seen the Broadway play a long time ago. Like I could see the merit of why it's people like it. It's like a different take on the Wizard of Oz. I get that, but like the thing that shocks me is just how crazy people are getting about this new movie. Like there's been so many different movies and renditions, but I've not seen people go this bananas over a movie, a Wizard of Oz or Wicked type of story movie.
I mean, look, Barbie was the last time people went, bubblegum crazy over a musical.
You know what? That shocked me too. I was like, damn, Barbie. Like, I don't know why people go so nuts about this, man. Like, it is just ridiculous.
Well, I mean, Barbie, again, just like Wizard of Oz, Barbie has been around since what, 1930s and stuff, right? There's a lot of fans of.
No, I get it. Just like this, I get it. I'm not a fan.
I don't
of
get it.
I'm not here
I don't
for
get
it.
I don't get it. No, I know you get it. Maybe you can explain it to me. I don't get it. Like, I don't want to get it. I'm not involved in getting it. Get it is not even on my radar. Where you say Wicked and get it, I'm like, get it? Nah.
But then how could you get the whole Barbie thing and not get this? That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna say, like, it's the same rationale. You know?
I know. Artsy fartsy people have money too. I understand. Everybody loves a musical and like a famous singer as an actress, and oh my gosh, she's amazing. I don't honestly, I don't care. That's just me. I don't care.
I was just surprised at how crazy people are. Anyway, let's move it along. A topic you may actually enjoy is I was shocked that they're still making Batman the Animated Series toys. They're still actually, and like these are new toys that they're manufacturing, but it's modeled after the old. Like obviously a kid right now is not going to know where this is from. They're going to understand it's Batman, but they're not going to know that, hey, this was a cartoon back in the day. So the question is, like, are you selling to me who was a fan of the show when I was a kid because I watched it religiously, or are you selling it to my kids? You know, like or there's the question that you're gonna get me to buy it for my kids. I just like it's just
Or is
wild.
it just for collecting? Or is it for collecting and keeping in a box?
But then these things don't really retain more value than the retail value that you're buying it for, right? Because right now they're not really collectible value, right? I mean, they're kind of expensive. I mean, well, if you get the one, they're not really that expensive. I mean, most toys are about this price right now, in like the $15 to $20 range. But
Look, I think it's cool. Again, I agree with you. I don't know who it's for.
Yeah.
But considering that the Batman sort of just got, again, a new life breathed into it with this new series that just came out, granted, it's based on the same sort of drawing style, not necessarily the same characters, but I get it. Like, again, it must financially make sense for these companies to be making these toys. Someone's buying it, right?
Somebody is buying it. 100%. Somebody's buying it. I mean, this show is what now 20 years old at least. 30. Like it's 30. Wow,
close to 30.
30 years old. Like
right next year, not even in a month, it'll be 30 technically.
Like I don't know how anybody who's because anybody who's our age who actually watched the show, who understood the show, is not buying toys now, right? If I'm buying a toy, I'm buying it to sell at my store. I'm not buying a toy to have.
Again, maybe if you have kids, maybe you're buying it for your kids. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I could see a scenario where I'm taking my kid out to a Walmart or a Target or something, and he wants to buy a Batman toy, and I see all the Batman toys, and they're all these weird like DCU realistic ones, and then I see the Batman animation. I'm like, oh, that looks that
looks fairly innocent.
Yeah, and that's innocent. Like it brings me nostalgia. I'm gonna get that.
His moose knuckle is not anatomically correct. I'll get that one.
Exactly. It's nice and flat, right? No genitalia necessary, right? Like I don't need any of that exposure. But no, what I'm saying is like I could see a scenario like that. Like I just, other than that, outside of that scope, I don't see how they could be marketing to like a kid who's never has no idea what that reference is, right? Because there's so many other Batman toys, right, that are out there in the market. Like how are you gonna differentiate or get the kid to pick that one?
I don't know. I mean, if we could see the sales figures, then maybe we'd have a better understanding. But again, as I said, I'm sure it's not at the same release as it is for all the other, it's a smaller print. But at the same time, if they do have the molds and they are making in them any, like again, what's the cost? What's the return? Like I think that would be, because obviously if it's not for collecting, it's obviously to play as action figures, right? So if there is a market for it and people are getting it,
now that I'm thinking about it, I get the only other scenario where I could see this is if you are a super big comic book fan, right? Even if you're like in 30s and 40s and you're trying to decorate your man cave, and instead of buying high-end collectibles, you buy something like this, open it up and place it.
Which again has member berries for you, right? And then
because you watch the show and you love the show, and now they're making these newer ones, so you don't have to buy the old vintage ones that are expensive, and then you also want to keep them mint in box, right? The vintage ones. So you don't want to open those boxes. Like this one, you could buy, open the box, and like set them up to decorate your place. You know what I'm saying? So I can see that other scenario, but I don't see how that's that big of a market. That's my thing. Can't possibly be that big because you get what like. I mean, I really don't see there being a huge amount of like 30, 40-year-olds who are, I mean, probably single and play with action figures and decorate their room with action figures. I think that's a very small market.
Yeah, I think so too.
Who am I to judge? Yep.
I mean, you liked Wicked, so I don't know. I don't know about that.
nobody said I liked Wicked. All right, I just think the rationale of why somebody would like it. Like I get why somebody would like it. It's not something I'm into, but I get it. Yeah.
All right, okay.
All right. Let's move it along. Let's move it along. Next one. Uh, okay, so this one will be interesting. Or you might be interested in. Jordan memorabilia, Michael Jordan memorabilia, this year has set records for, their auctions. There has been like record-breaking auctions for his stuff. Like we talked about his rookie card going for like 900,000.
I don't think this will stop, dude. I think this is the one thing that will continue for. I don't know. Who knows? Like who knows? Maybe by the time like in 2-3 generations when the Michael Jordan name is just like a brand name, like like Louis Vuitton or something like that, and nobody really knows the origins of it, then maybe it will calm down. But I think until that happens, and then if you think about it, like look, he's still alive, and then God forbid something were to happen, that the price and value will also go up tremendously.
Through the roof. I think we're pushing on what, like 20 years from the last time he played a game, because it was like in early 2000s where he played for like Wizards, right? So we're coming on 20 years since he's actually played a game, right? And his relevance is going to start dwindling little by little. So I
don't know. I still think until Jordan Brand, again, because of the strength of Jordan Brand, and again the debates, right? Who's the GOAT? Until that goes away, and I don't think that ever will. I think he will forever be the greatest basketball player that ever played the game. You can definitely make an
argument, but I think eventually because there are two things, right? It's like you look at even like games as old as like baseball, right? Like some of these baseball players were amazing at their time, but now their memorabilia is not something people are regularly encountering or selling. So I think that eventually, just because of the scarcity of like his memorabilia, Jordan's memorabilia, eventually there's going to be a point where there's just not going to be stuff that's going to be selling. So his records are not like, these records are like, I think this is the best his sales records are going to get. Eventually it's going to start like going down because number one, the inventory is low, right? There just isn't that much more stuff being sold. And then the other thing is his relevance is going to go down, right? Because you ask anybody, any kid right now, who's Babe Ruth, they're not really going to under who that is, right? Or Jackie Robinson, or maybe Jackie Robinson, but or Mickey Mantle, like they're not gonna know who these people are. Right now, if you ask a kid who Jordan is, they're gonna understand who Jordan is, right? They're gonna know who Michael Jordan is.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Until none of those guys have a brand that has been selling stuff. You know what I mean? Like
eventually people are gonna see even like the Jordan brand, they're not even gonna associate it with Michael Jordan anymore.
But that's what I mean. That's what I was talking about. Like in 2 or 3 generations, they will forget, like, again, that it's not just a name, that there was a person,
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Once we get to that point, I think then his memorabilia is just not going to be selling like with the numbers. I mean, it might sell here or there, but I don't think it's going to hit the numbers like it's hitting right now. Like these are like astronomical numbers, like almost $1 million for his rookie card, his game worn basketball shorts, his last game in the Bulls is sold for $216,000. Like these are huge numbers. I mean, I just
we will see, right? Where this is like market speculation, right? So I don't know. I think it's going to continue to go up for the next, I would say, another 15 years. That's my prediction, minimum. So like we are on the sort of
I think it's going to start declining. Yeah, but yeah, who knows? Who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe he'll become relevant again. But anyway, let's move it along. Next article. Tom Brady, Mike Trout, and Wemby. They do the
and
ribs.
Dana White and a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah, I just love I love that the breaking, like box breaking, is becoming so big that now sports athletes are breaking boxes with like kids and doing these charity events, and they're like looking for their own cards, like they're pulling out, like they're like Wemby's pulling out trying to get Wemby cards for all these young kids that are out there. It's just really funny to see. It's a nice little thing that they're doing for these kids. I think
I
it's
think
cool.
it's cool. I think it's a
Yeah, I
it's a
think they should.
great, and again, it promotes going to the shops, right? It
Yeah,
promotes
exactly. I think that's a huge thing.
interaction. It's a
I love
community
that.
building thing.
Yeah,
I think that's super cool.
I love that they're doing it at like local hobby shops and store and card stores. It brings in a lot of people to these stores. It helps these businesses, and it's just like bringing younger kids into the hobby and showing
Yeah.
them, like how much fun it could be. Because, like,
Yeah, I
the
think
other
we
day,
talked about this like few weeks ago, right? It's a very similar thing. Like
yeah,
I think as long as like, you're getting people through the door. Now, granted, some of those shops are already very well established, so I
yeah,
understand that. I wish maybe they, because like the one in New York that I forgot who was there. It's like in downtown Manhattan,
yeah.
like I get it. Like, but what about a shop in Queens or Brooklyn? Like
That
that
would
would
have
have
been
been a
much better.
much
100%.
right,
100%.
right. So again, I think it's great. But at the same time, I wish there were like more like medium-sized shops, or not the ones that are so super established. But obviously, being super established, you bring in the volume, you
Exactly.
you
And
buy the most boxes, so that you're on the radar of these companies. So I get it.
and also these athletes are not entirely doing it for free, or
No,
or
no, obviously, no.
and even if they're doing it for next to nothing, they're those shops need to have a connection to their agent or their publisher, somebody
Correct,
big in their
correct,
team, for
correct.
them
And
to
then obviously safety is also a concern, right? So
yeah,
I
safety.
understand.
Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough. But I just love them. I love that they're putting the effort. They're bringing kids into this, into the hobby, and they're just. It's like a fun way to do it, and it promotes my industry, which is selling cards and things like that. And I just think it's a great thing for everybody involved. Yeah.
I agree. That's one thing we agree on today.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, we've agreed on a couple of things.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the whole point of doing this podcast, right? Is to have divergent opinions on things, so we can have a nice, a healthy discourse. But anyway, next topic. 17 games like Fortnite think to try out in 2024. So I read this article.
I'm sorry, that's a very misleading title, because they're not like Fortnite, and
Well, so yes, I agree. A lot of them are not.
like
But
maybe popularity or ease of play like Fortnite, but not. It's a very misleading. There's
okay,
only
so
like two or three games that are like Fortnite on that entire list.
they're all battle royale games, right? So they're all
Minecraft, Minecraft Battle
okay. Not all,
Royale.
not all. Okay, but like I said, yes, I agree. Not all of them are of the list are like that, like Rock Band, and then that biking
Yeah.
game. Yes, yes, I agree. But my point was about the article was solely focusing on battle royale games, right? My thing was,
Okay.
um, the reason why I brought it up was I have been shocked at the growth. I think it's dwindling now, but coming out of COVID, battle royale games.
Sorry, sir, you're stuck on my end. Dab. Awkward dab. Is this how you do it? All right. I'm gonna hit you up. Does it still have recording on my end? Do, 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 do.
Okay, back again after some technical difficulties. But we were talking about the Battle Royale game.
Nobody's gonna know, bro. How will they know?
Well, no, well, now.
How will they know?
I guess we can edit it. Anyway, Battle Royale games. I am shocked at how popular they've become since the end of COVID. I mean, I think they got big during
I
COVID.
mean, in general, yeah, during COVID, it was big. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just got crazy. Like every
No, but I mean, they were popular before COVID too. Like PUBG and Fortnite was already popular before,
well,
before
not
COVID
much
hit.
before, but not that long before. Like they Fortnite, PUBG and Fortnite were the first two, right? Like it was maybe a couple of years before COVID that they came out. They originally came out, and they did good, but they weren't as crazy as they are like got after COVID. And then not only that, but like it got
I
to the
mean,
in the last few years, like every company has been making like clones of these games or making their
yeah,
own
yeah.
version of these games. And
But it's sort of predictable, right? It's sort of, I mean, hindsight is 2020, right? But like it's sort of predictable, being that if you remember, like Hunger Games, right? And then the original Hunger Games that was made in Japan, right? I forgot, the Battle Royale or whatever it's called, right? That was the name of the movie. Batu Watu
yeah,
Watu.
yeah.
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 And it's literally
Well,
like,
that's not
you're
fun.
like, oh, that would be cool to have in a game, right? And someone actually like, oh, let's make a game out of it, right? And again, people love competition, and before it was team play, right? So you like,
Yeah,
if you want to win, Fortnite, or like before, you would have team battle royals in
yeah.
a way, right? Like you would have one, team versus team, blah 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 blah, or team versus multiple teams,
Well, they
and
had team
then
battle
some,
royales too, where like you have like like four teams fighting each
yeah.
other all on one stage, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They've
So
had that.
now it's like, let's just make it for one person, and then
Yeah,
people will want to win, and then there's always going to be people who are good, people who suck, and then people who die because their parachute doesn't open. But I do enjoy, like, the Fall Guy. Like, I sometimes when my nephews are here, I pick it up and we just put it on and play.
yeah.
It is a
I
lot of
mean, they're
fun
fun
and
games.
kind of silly.
Yeah, I think look, I think that look, I enjoy the games. They're fun to play. I think a big appeal of these games is, number one, you could play them solo, right? You don't need to have a team like you said, and they have a huge replayability factor, right? Because each game lasts like it can last anywhere from like half hour to like 2-3 hours, right? But they really don't go much longer than that. And then
Yeah.
right after that,
And like
you get right
it's
to
like,
another game.
example, like, again, going back to Fall Guys, right? Like, I could pick it up, I could play for 15 minutes, and if I could put it back down, and
Yeah,
I had a little bit of
yeah.
fun, killed a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
No,
a
I
huge
mean, I
appeal of these
I
games.
think it's a draw. It's a attention drawing, game, and I think it's fun, and I personally love competition. I'm not The funny thing is, I still play the traditional Call of Duty more, like the
That's what
traditional, like, team
I played both.
deathmatch and all of that. I've been Warzone, like, I've attempted it like twice, and I'm
I love,
like, yeah, it's cool.
yeah,
I
it's
I
not my
I
cup of tea.
played more hours in, like, zombies than have in Warzone, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't appeal to me. But like games like Fall Guys, and then what is it, Among Us? Is it, what's the
Among
name?
Us,
I keep forgetting. Yeah,
one with
I think
those.
that's cool. Yeah, I think those games are pretty fun.
Yeah, they're entertaining for what they are. I mean, I can see like myself killing like a couple hours if I had, or like a half hour, 45 minutes if I had nothing to do, right? But I'm more of a story-driven guy. Like I like games that have story, or there's like a clear goal, where like or like kind of quest line or something like that you got to do, versus like, or let's say campaign, because like I love Call of Duty, like the single player campaigns in Call of Duty, Halo, all of these games. So because I've always been like more of a single player than like a multiplayer. Like the only time I ever really got into multiplayer is like when we did local multiplayer with like our friends, when we hooked up like two Xboxes together and we played like 4-on-4 or something like that, or like
Yeah,
GoldenEye, we played
yeah.
four people, that was kind of like battle royale between four people, or you did like 2-on-2, so like I like those games, but it's just funny how popular these games have gotten and how every company is putting out like battle royale type games now.
Well, I think like look, there's a generation of gamers who have no idea that these games didn't exist.
Yeah, yeah.
If you think about it, like they've been around like since what PUBG not even 2019.
Yes,
20,
2019.
2018, 2019, right? I just remember Nate streaming PUBG and me sometimes hopping on to play with him. So so if you think about it, like if someone was 8 years old, right, in 2018, and we're literally 6 years later, now they're 12, 13 years old, like 14 years old. So they have no idea that these games didn't exist. You know what I mean? Like it's part of their gaming vocabulary. So they're just accepted as a normal sort of game to participate in, right? Versus for me and you, it's like, yeah, sometimes it's cool, but I prefer the old, the old gameplay mechanics one, and then we play that. Like honestly, like my Call of Duty game, I've never like the Call of Duty 3 Modern Warfare or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't even play the campaign. Like I have like 300 to 400 hours in the game, and it's all multiplayer, like team deathmatch and team, capture the flag and all that other BS. Like I've never even touched the campaign. I was like, I don't care about the campaign. I just want to jump and do zombies and then do that online, and then I'm having a blast doing it, and that's it. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite. I always go for the campaign first, and I'll play through the story, and then if I really like the mechanics of the game, then I'll play the multiplayer a lot more.
Yeah, no, honestly, like I try to go select my characters. Like, oh, if you play the campaign mission 2, like episode something, I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't need that guy. I'm okay. I don't need that skin. I'll be fine. Like, I don't even want to start the campaign. It's like I don't care about it.
That's funny. Yeah, well, everybody has their own way of enjoying video games. Some people like just getting into the gameplay. Other people like story. I mean, I don't like it when where a lot of games in recent times have been very like dialogue heavy and very like cutscene heavy. So there's like more emphasis on the cinematics than there are on the gameplay aspects of a lot of these games. Like even a lot of the new big games, almost all of them have like these quick time events where you have to press like the corresponding button or whatever, and it's more like a movie scene than it is you actually fighting some kind of creature or fighting another opponent, yeah, it's funny how the industry goes to like two extremes, like it's always like gonna be one side where it's all just like, hey, I just want to get into the multiplayer, I just want to play other people, and I don't really care about story. And then there's the other side where they're like, oh, all I care is about like having awesome scenes and watching like these crazy cinematics, so it's interesting. There's a huge dichotomy.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool. Like,
yeah,
it's not all the games appeal to me, but a lot of them do, and having the technology for people to be playing that, and I think it's amazing. The servers.
That's what I think is dope. Yeah, like you can have a huge game that has even like Halo and Call of Duty, where you have these really, really amazing campaigns that have these amazing stories, and then you also have this robust multiplayer aspect of the game where you have this huge community of people that are just constantly playing these games where they're playing like it's like a social network where you're playing other people from like all over the world, so it's really interesting. That's kind of leads into the next article that I wanted to talk about, which was Baldur's Gate 3 update gets a crossplay. I love this that a lot. I wish, well, a better way to rephrase this is I wish more games did this crossplay thing, right? Because I think this would prompt me to play multiplayer games a lot more if I could play with, because like a lot of my friends who do play the same games have an Xbox and I have a PlayStation, or I play on PC and they play on a console or something like that. So we can't play the same game even though we're playing the same game. You know what I'm saying? But now a lot more games, especially Baldur's Gate, which is a game that I really love, and to be able to play that online with a friend where we could both do the campaign together, that's really dope. And then if you could do that with like Halo, can you like, or Halo's Xbox exclusive, but let's say like other games like Call of Duty or something like that, where my friend might have an Xbox and I have a PlayStation, and we could play a local co-op either on the campaign or even play multiplayer together, even though we have two different consoles, and
Right.
I think that's a really dope thing. And I think more and more games should do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, I think I enjoyed playing like the Hot Wheels Unleashed, the first one. I didn't buy the second one, but like you would see people playing on console, playing on PC,
Yeah,
playing like you just see who's playing from where. And the
yeah,
same thing with even Call of Duty. Like you have
yeah.
people playing on PC, people playing on different consoles, and then at the same time, some people using controller, other people using mouse and keyboard. I, again, it's almost like the universal USB-C charger. Like
Yeah.
eventually people like they finally figure it out, like getting everyone together and on the same page is actually more beneficial for everyone, right?
Yeah,
But
because then
I
you'll have more
for
people.
those companies that are trying to make money, like they want you to buy, like, oh, you want to play on PC with your friends, buy the PC version. Like I get it. Money's always the driving factor behind all of these things, right?
100%, 100%. I think
So
they,
I think, to be honest, I think the European Union has been doing, it's not always, I don't necessarily agree with everything, but I think the European Union has been pushing really this a really good connectivity and like behind technology to eliminate these sort of practices by large organizations, by large companies to continue to try to get money from you. Now, again, they do a lot of stuff I don't necessarily agree with, but like the USB-C universal charger, so you're not wasting, and having multiple chargers, especially like if you have an Apple, I have a Samsung, like, well,
yeah,
what's the difference? Like, oh, you must have like 3 different chargers because this is a different, like, you remember those days, like, oh, can I charge your phone? No, because my charger has a
yeah,
plug
like,
with like a hook in it, and then you have to spin it 3 times, and then it'll work. Like, I think again, so a lot of these things, again, and then the sort of the gameplay mechanics that they're trying to eliminate out of. So combining and allowing people to play together, it's a really beneficial thing. But again, a lot of the companies obviously don't want to do it because if you play PC and I play console, well, guess what, loser? Buy the PC version so we can make money from you, and then
that's the logic, right? It's like, hey, if I'm, especially if like I'm if you have a big title game, and you be like, oh, if you want to play with your friends, you got to buy that same console, and that gets Sony or Microsoft more money. But I think now they're realizing that, hey, if I build this community and I get people to play the game more, they'll make more money, right? We'll make more
yeah,
money.
because they charge like the
Yeah,
season passes and the unlocks and the skins and the guns and
so,
everything, so they get to charge anyways.
yeah, so the more time you have people playing your game, the more money you're gonna make. And I
Yeah,
think
the larger the community is, right?
yeah,
So yeah,
larger communities. So I think they're realizing that now. They're like, hey, we thought the better way to make money is force people to buy our products, but now we're realizing we can make way more money if we get them to enjoy
if
our
we
product.
force people to buy our products online, no,
Yeah, exactly. Same difference. But I
yeah,
think this benefits everybody. It benefits the profit line for a lot of these companies, and then it benefits the consumer because we get to enjoy these games with our friends on different platforms, and not have to buy brand new equipment just to play for a couple hours. Like I think this is a step forward in the right direction.
yeah, I think so too. I
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for it. I think that's a cool thing, and hopefully, again, me and you, we both have PlayStation, so either way, we could play games together.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Granted, the
Yeah.
12-hour difference in time, but
Yeah, but I have this problem with Dennis, right? Because a lot of times me and Dennis like playing the same games, but he has
and
an
he's on
Xbox.
Xbox. Yeah, I
So,
know.
well,
I
I mean,
used to be I used to be Team Dennis. I used to
uh,
be Team Xbox. I used to be Team Dennis. I love my Xbox. The only reason I have a PlayStation is just because there's not enough online play in Asia Pacific for Xbox. There's just
oh, is
not
it really?
enough. So it makes no sense. Oh yeah, it makes no sense. Like I I could buy it and there would be the same sort of things, but like if I want to play online, it would be such a hassle because there's a lot more people that own PlayStation. So
Wow. Okay.
Xbox is not a huge market here, unless like you're in Japan, and even then, and then like a few gamers in Australia, but like Indonesia, Malaysia, like it's Xbox is not a big
Wow.
thing here.
I did not know that. Interesting. All right. All right, let's move on to the last topic of the day.
Oh, we will disagree about this one. Yes, go
Oh,
ahead. I watched it.
did you? Okay, all right, all
I
right.
watched it. I
Okay,
watched it.
all
Go
right,
ahead. Go ahead. You
all
tell me
right.
what you think. Go ahead.
I
So to
thought it was
tell
good.
people
I
what we're
like it.
talking about,
We're
tell
talking about
people what we're
Watchmen
talking about.
chapter 1 and 2 that just released. It is a adaptation of the graphic novel Watchmen. Um, I apparently, I mean, we're gonna disagree. I liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, I thought it was truer to the graphic novel than the movie was. The movie was very condensed and it glazed over a lot of some of the stuff that the graphic novel talks about. But um, I mean, I think I like DC and Warner Brother animated stuff that I do their live action stuff. So I mean, I'm always a fan of their stuff. And I thought this was just as good as all the other DC movies. And I love the Watchmen graphic novels. I've always loved them. So it was fun to watch that animated. What are your thoughts?
All right. So,
All right.
being that I've never read the graphic novel, right?
Okay.
I've never looked into it. Honestly, I enjoyed the movie a lot.
Okay.
The movie from 2009, I enjoyed it a lot. Uh, and watching this again, obviously, I already know the story, I know the plot,
Yeah.
I know how it's going to end, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I
Essentially.
really did not think that this animated two-parter added so much more that it is better than the movie itself. I really didn't think
I
so.
think it did.
I think I
I think
don't
it had a
think
lot
so.
more.
It added some nuances, but in reality, not having them in the movie, it didn't make the movie worse, and this didn't make the animated better.
I
That's
think.
my again. As I said, we're gonna
Well, I think. I
disagree.
think.
We're gonna
I think.
disagree. We're gonna disagree. I said we're gonna disagree,
Well,
sir.
look, in reality, look, there was right because the character development for major characters like the comedian Owlman was a lot more fleshed out. You got to see their motivations. You got to see like I think it made them a lot more human than it did in the movie. Because in the movie,
Yes,
they
yes.
glazed over a
They
lot of
they
this
they
stuff.
did. Even Roshank, like
And
even him,
even
like
even the relationship between that chick's mother and the comedian.
Silks. Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
I think the fact
comedian
in the movie they only talked about the rape, right? They didn't allude at like it did in the where it was actually a gray area where she actually loved him and they were together for a little while. Like it wasn't the fact that oh this guy just raped her and now I'm his daughter like
I
like
know.
glazed
But
over.
as I said, I didn't feel that the movie was missing so much that this sort of made up for it. Like I feel that there
What about the
again,
Rorschach
maybe
at
I'm
the end? Like they glazed over that in the movie too,
which one?
where Dr. Manhattan disintegrates Rorschach.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty huge.
uh, I mean, it's kind of implied, right? It's kind of
Yeah, I mean,
implied.
yes,
So as I mean, like I don't think because okay, the movie's runtime is how long? The movie's runtime is 2 hours and change, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
So and
This adds up to
this was literally 3 hours. This was
yeah,
literally
yeah,
three
yeah.
hours,
All
right?
3 hours, yeah,
So correct. So I think the
almost an
movie
hour.
was yeah, so they added like an hour, give or take. Like
Yeah,
even the whole pirate, scene, the pirate ship black
yeah.
sail thing, like it was in the movie too, but this was more elaborate and longer and intertwined, and the story about the how everything sort of still connected, and they realize like, oh my God, so this like the newsstand is also a character, right? Like the newsstand
Yeah,
is a
that,
character.
that that was the whole thing that they
The
glazed over.
newsstand is a character, right? Because it brings everybody together. Everybody passes
Also
through
the
there.
kid,
They're all connected.
also the kid reading that graphic novel about the pirate ship and like none of that was like really even brought up in the movie at all. And I thought
Correct,
it had a
correct. But
lot
I'm
of
saying, like, that's what I mean. I don't feel like including all of that really added that much. Again, now, as I said, we will disagree about this. I said we will disagree about this because I personally, I watched the movie first. I didn't read the graphic novel, so I'm basing it on my. And again, I think I watched the Watchmen movie, rewatched it like I think maybe last year because maybe 2 years ago when I had COVID. I was stuck in this room that I'm in right now, and I watched it, and I still enjoy it, and I still think it's good. I think a lot of people don't get it. I think a lot of people don't get it, and they were looking at it as they were expecting, like, at that time when it came out, they were expecting like Batman Returns, Spider-Man 3 sort of action, which is not. Yeah, and then when they went to see it, it was like, why the story? What's the story? We don't care. We want explosions and stuff and this and bang, boom, bang. Like, and then when people went to watch it and they didn't get that, that's why the movie wasn't as well received as maybe potentially it should have been, because it wasn't really explained to people. Because like even the trailer was like, action oriented, when the whole thing is not action oriented, it's story oriented, and it's drama more than anything. So again, I enjoyed the movie immensely. I watched this and I was like, again, I'm not saying this was bad. Like, I love the animation of it. Obviously, everything's digital and most likely Unreal Engine 5 rendered with Blender combinations, and it's all like So I feel again like I feel removed from that hand drawn sort of graphic novel type of feel, because it's all digital, right? I get it, time, money, everything. I understand. It added a few things that were cut from the movie. I'm sure if they would have made the movie 3 hours, they would have left all of the stuff in. Maybe. But obviously, no one wanted. The movie already got bad reviews, so imagine if it was another 30 minutes or 45 minutes longer, it would have been even worse.
It was ahead of its time, pretty sure.
Yeah. And it was not the era to make it. And a lot of people, again, I personally didn't even know about Watchmen, the graphic novel, right? And I didn't know it came out in 1986, like when the Cold War was still a huge thing.
Yeah, nobody really knew about it unless you were a big comic book fanatic that you knew about it. But otherwise, it was very like under the radar. And I think I agree that like. Customer reviews were bad, but I think critically it was well received. The movie I'm talking about, the original movie.
Yeah.
So like it was critically acclaimed, but it was bad because like idiots didn't really understand the movie, right? But I think I'm a realist, right? Like a true, like I love the comic books. I've always loved comic books. So I read Watchmen, and I'm always a fan when the media tries to stay true to its source material, right? And I like this a lot because like I was saying, that those things that you feel like didn't really add to the story, I felt it did, because I felt it really helped the character development for all of the major characters, like Dr. Manhattan, comedian, Owlman, Silver Spectre, and all of them, right? Rorschach, and it gave you, it fleshed out, like even like the relationship with Rorschach and Owlman. In the movie, you didn't know they were like best friends.
You mean Night Owl? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. Night Owl. Yeah, I can say Owlman is from DC, from the alternate universe DC. When they have like the Syndicate. But no, Night Owl and you didn't know Night Owl, like from the movie, you would have never guessed that Night Owl and Rorschach were like a team for mad long. They were like low key best friends.
Again, it alluded to it. It alluded to it in the photos and in them standing next to each other, and them it alluded that they were a team. Again.
But I like the fact
you're talking about an additional 3 to 5 minutes that they sort of explain that they're a teamwork in like 3 or 4 different scenes. Again, as I said, to me that didn't really that didn't really change that much that it was so.
Well,
If
because
it
I'm
was so
a
left
story
out,
guy.
I didn't feel like I missed out on much. You know what I mean?
Like I said, I'm a story guy. I like when they bring in things like character development and they flesh out the world and the people in it, right? Because that's more immersive. It feels like if you know more about the world and the characters' motivations and all of that, it makes it easier for you to immerse yourself into that and lose yourself in that world. And I thought that I thought this was a better at that than the movie was. You know what I'm saying? So
As I said, we are going to disagree on
yes,
this, right?
yes,
So that's
agreed.
the disagreement.
Agreed.
I think again, I think it's a great animated, two-part series. Yes, it does everything that the graphic novel. It includes all the things, I think, right? It doesn't leave anything out.
No, it's good.
Do I think it's a better product than the movie? Not necessarily. I would say they're both about equally the same. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah. I don't. Yeah. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I think they're also two different kinds of media. One's live action, one is animated, right? So it's hard. It's kind of like apples and oranges, right? You can't like
yeah.
I wouldn't be like, oh, this is better than. And then also, like you said, it had a shorter run time, so it had to condense it. And I agree with you. The movie, since the movie, I did watch the movie first. I would say I prefer the movie over this. I prefer the live action over this.
Oh my God, we agree.
but I do think that this is like story wise, this is better at fleshing out the Watchmen universe, and it really gets. I think it really tells a little more of all of these characters and their character development than
yeah, I mean, it's understandable, right? I also think it's again, I'm not disagreeing with you. There's a lot more information. There's a lot more scenes. I just, for me personally, I feel like the movie has such a lasting impression on me that I still think it's more enjoyable. And plus, even when I was watching, I those characters and the actors that portray those characters, I was seeing them in that cartoon, and I was like, oh, Silk Spectre does not look like this. Like, you got it wrong. Like,
I can see that. I felt myself doing that too. Like when Rorschach took off the mask, I was really hoping.
I was like, oh no, this is so wrong. This is so wrong.
Yeah, I was like, no, this don't feel good. This don't feel right.
Yeah.
No, I was the same way. I agree. But
okay,
anyway.
Cool. So there's some stuff we can agree on, and like, since we're talking about Watchmen, I don't know. Remember, there was a Watchmen TV show for a little bit, like.
But that
I hope
continues the story.
Right. That's years later, right? That's not related. It's sort of like how the society developed and became more fascist and everything like that, right? Like but I wish they would bring it back, because I was waiting for them to come out with like a few more seasons of it. So
there is going to be another season. I think they're producing a second season soon.
It's been a long time.
It's been a couple years.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It
came
out of like a long time.
One, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a long time.
I like that. And I like that they focused on Dr. Manhattan on that one. It was good.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, by the way, I started watching Pantheon, so we'll review that next week.
Okay. I need to continue it. I kind of stopped because it was I was a little bit sick, so I didn't continue to watch it as much.
I'm like halfway in. No, what? There's like 8 episodes, I think. I'm like episode 3. I'm at episode 3. So I'll
since I'm flying to Bangkok and on Thursday, I'll just download everything and I'll watch it on the flight.
Okay. It's so far. I'll leave it for the review. Let's just say it's interesting.
It's interesting, and as I told you, it is kind of dark. Like, it's like
very dark, dude.
Yeah, I warned you. I was like, Mars Express plus more.
Oh,
not as bad as the other one with the alien planet thing.
This one still has like a lot of meta commentary and a lot of existential questions that I ask, like, just like thinking about. I'm like, wow, this is wild. Like, this is Think about what's happening.
Altered carbon vibes, like it's a lot. There's a
100%. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. So we'll reserve.
Again, when I started watching it, I was like, oh, I got to share this with you. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. Right?
No, I'm glad
all right, man.
Yeah. We'll talk about it next week. Anyway.
Yes.
Thanks for joining, and we'll see you guys next week. All right.
Bye.